Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever, goody. Anyway, this is the scoop. We are going to have a conversation today. So many times, people question me why I left my empire, business, everything to collapse. 1999, 9th October, while at Sheraton, my bank. Do you want to know what my bank was? Shanice was my personal banker. Shanice, should I tell you the bank? I used to bring in sackloads of money. Banking. Paramount Investments. Yes, I'll see in a minute, Coach. Paramount Investments and Entertainment. The entertainment arm was for me just to, that was the other side of the business that worked for the investment arm. That would explain why I had so many ventures. Miss Uganda, artists, I used to give them or fund them or sponsor them. And so, Kakati, in 1997, after hanging up on a job that was very promising with a career, I had returned from Kenya following my escapade in Tanzania with Angelina. That's very true. I was going to stay in Tanzania. Those who are following the Tanzanian beauty story, you know what I'm talking about. So when I returned back to Uganda, I was at home briefly, just getting the hang of things and what to do. One day, Mr. Medi Kagwa was a family friend and a personal friend to my mom. He becomes the MP Kawempe division on the premise of my mom. My mom had stood for that what? Then she pulled out. Yali yesibyo kuwa MP Kawempe before it became Kawempe North, Kawempe South, or whatever it is now. It was one huge constituency. Then when she pulls out, she threw the ticket. Medicagwa was our neighbor, Upper Manda Road. So at that time, my mom is sick. He used to come around and visit us, check on her and all that. She had given up on that political. If my mom had stood, she was going to win that constituency. There was no question mark about it. She was going to win it. Because the things she had done initially had drummed up. Yavuga Kagali, she drove a bicycle on Chebando. The whole of you call it the village, Echaro Chebando, Kabempe, Gonaneba, Mukomgaga. Because my mom had that name. My mom had imprinted that name on the constituents. They knew her as somebody's wife who drove a Mercedes-Benz, who was a very rich woman, and she was a widow. My mom was widowed at 33, so she's now 35 now. 1990, mumfuna bulungi nnyo egy'emyaka egyo mu abakazi kyejogera mukitegeera. N'abamukwana bangi, abaali bamutawanya baali bangi, naye of course now when she took ill, and I'm back from Kenya. Kenya. So one evening, we were in the sitting room of our house. Uncle Medi comes to visit my mom. In talking, he tells me, that's Uncle Medi, there are some opportunities in URA. By then, he was working as a private secretary. You remember URA was commissioned as a World Bank agency, and The director was a Ghanaian. He was leaving after his 5-year contract. So he said, no, you want a J? I think when I told him that I was studying shipping, transport, and customs, everything was in line with URA. So I go on Monday, and I begin working. They put me in Nakawa, bond, and goods shed railway, customs clearing, declaration officer. That was my job. It was a very promising job because at that age, I was 20, 24, 20, if I had stuck it in there to date, now I'd be one of the top people. I would have been one of the top people in URA, probably even run it. So after my 6 months probation, I did not tender in my application, and I just withdrew, and I said, I'm not taking up the job. Bonabaunga. Everybody was gobsmacked. Really? URA, and back then working in government was, but me, I cared less. Now, this is what was going on. I'd met her with some investors. Investors. Aba capital pub, na capital pub yakagulawo buguzi. It had just opened 2 years. They were not sure what was going on. They had come with a lot of equipment. Hi, Charlotte. I'll see you inside there. Yeah. You look nice. Yeah. It's a compliment. Okay, I'll see you inside. Eh? Okay, darling. No, abazungu banjagala. Tuzanya no pool table. Nagenda ngayo kuzanya pool table. Ngeri emu. But one day they tell me that they have a lot of equipment in stock. Nga babera kansanga biri mu garage byali bikyalina mu bond. Bond. I've been working in the URA. The story, bring the story short. We agree on an idea. Mufuna bulungi nnyo nti ebyuma ebyo tubijjeyo naye nga tebalina na interest. Capital pub yali olunga capital pub ekola kiralu nnyo. They were making a killing in capital pub. Be bazungu aba abaali Alsbar. You remember the generation of the sports bars? When everywhere in Kampala there was always a sports bar, large screens and everything. Capital pub became synonymous with pool tables. Pool tables nezikola sente zenzitandiko zikumamu omulirawo. Okay, they give me the machines. Slot machines, gaming machines. 1997, Uganda yali yakayingira kibayita liberalization. The government elections akagwa mpuli akalulu kali closed call. Ekintu kyali kiyiika. Kati Museveni mugezi n'asumulula economy. Sente yali mu Kampala. You know what they call liberalization? When you drop everything, you drop regulation, you drop everything, people can borrow money the way they want, they can do whatever they want. Ke kaluluka premier, ke kaluluka jada. Now enter slot machines, enter gaming, ye betting, je muzanya mpira kati nze ntandika template eriwo right now eya gaming rules and regulations tezaaliwo. Akati abazungu nga bankwasa ebyuma terms and conditions nga ntandika company. tekyalimu question mark. Company ka form kamu kajjuzaamu registering okola kibina byonna tukwata byuma nga ngenda Tororo, Eastern Uganda. Nalina inclination nengana Kampala eno. No, the best would go up country. Netubikwata ebyuma bampaleddeko ba technician abazungu grant kakati when we get there twatuka kawungeezi evening nga tunoonya ekifo edduuka twalinoonya kiro ekyo era omusajja omudaama nga bamuyita Odiambo n'atugamba nti alina edduuka ne tu unloading ebyuma ne tusasula rent. So we literally opened shop at night. That night we meeting at Diana mwali ali musanya Diana Nabwire naye mu bbaala ne tandika omukwano tandika okunyumya nze ngenda okukisiba bwe nti nga ngenda kusula mu Rockview Hotel. Those who know Tororo very well, you know Rockview Hotel. Diana nga mukwata ku mukono nga mugamba nti you're going to work with me. You are going to work with me. You're part of my team. Diana yankolera, because remember I didn't know the language. I didn't know Japadola. But I needed to fit in. Kankubuulire, people played those machines. People played slot machines. Neneta pool table. Nene bagizanya. Kati wenali nga waliwo amabaala mangi. So and the time I arrived in Tororo, it was during the harvesting season. Nga abalimi bajja ne ssente empitirivu nnyo olutunda wali ebintu byabwe. Abamu baavanga Kumi. Kumi mumanyi Kumi used to be very famous for growing potatoes. Kumi district. Ne Palisa balima muceere. Ezo ssente zennakuba. Kati abazungu, they hadn't worked it out well. Once baali bampadde percentage. Nga target sinzikola ki nzimiiting. There was no any doubt. That is it. Nenzire e Busia, I did the same thing. Nenzire e Malaba, I do the same thing. Mbale, Iganga, Tororo, paka Jinja. That is 1998 now. That's when, around that time, my mom passes away. 1998. Oro meetings a Bettina, or campus. Najanga ku campus, I used to come with the boot of the car, full of money. Ezimune tuvamu na azimbalia no kuzimba, ezimu nga nzimulekera. There's a day I left out with a sack of money. I want you to count it and stack it for me. Ina kuzibankinga. Ngoro sina time. If bank ngalusi manyi okunduyisa security byani byona. Okay. I'm moving fast with this story because it's a long story. It's got, I'm leaving out gaps. When the windfall of Kegus came about, it wasn't about anything stopping me. Nalaba ku sente oli someone sells his house. Someone sells his land. Yes, buddy. And comes and plays gaming. This is a citizen Bagamba. So 97, 98. Oh, kumanya sente zali nyingi nti I was building even houses for girlfriends. I was maintaining people at campus. I was doing it was astronomical. So by 1999, I'm at the peak. Wemba sibalimbye if I'm not telling you of, I was one of the richest young people in Uganda. Now, of course, I didn't have any direction. I didn't have any direction. I didn't have any direction. You know, I was just saying, I've lived off that status. Tugula motoka mpya. Tukwa Ange no discotheque. Open bar. Yes, buddy? Yeah, see in a minute. Bien sakulanga tebiriyo. Chilaba. By the time 1999 katolo ebitandiko kuchuka byali bingi, things begin to change. Kakati abali balabye ku sente kubakati kamba buli abantu ba Museveni abasinga bonna twazirwanako balabiranga kuffe era abasinga nange bandabirako ebintu bingi nnyo. So things begin to change. Njaba awo story empanvu nnyo byalimu abasirikale, nabo nga batandise okwegomba. I'm talking about abamaanyi nga bavudde mu biro ebyaki eba patriotism balabye tandika okwagala ebirungi nabo. Kakati nze issue yange yali Masaka anti-smuggling, Makayabu, whatever. It was bigger than that. So, but that was to do with investments. Nasade ninyoze ntadde mu bintu ebyo ebyennyanja abantu ne balemeredewa babatwalako ebintu byabwe bakola kintu byayiwanvu nnyo nafiirwa sente mpitirivu nnyo. So, to bring the story forward, by 1999, my bankers bampa award, one of the best bankers. Ngeraba nesiga nnyo nti ku wiiki nja kuyingizaawo ebikutiya. Ne bampa award. Shanice personal bank wange yakolanga mu bank omwo yakolanga naye muzimu ne mugulya gundi apartment ebigolobi. Kati awo ebintu bigenda kufuuka personal. My personal life also comes into question here. Okiraba nti by the end of 1999 binenaba story ya Firigo bituufu it was like the end of the party. Kwaliko ba minister, kwaliko ba that show has never even been there again. Omugaggo moto, fireworks bakube, neze never minister so babuli amanya gaabwe. Sina kakuna wange, alage wange, jimu wange. You people. Mbabulire ki bye byaliwo mu 1999. By the end of 1999, are you with me? The party is over. Byenyiza. There are a lot of wakati you get drunk in the euphoria of things. Nti ngenda okujja wano nkole shopping ng'olwo nzimba kalina bbiri. Entebe emu ya X Shaira yali lubuto, emu nga ya Bettina n'akitwala personal n'aleeta grader Caterpillar, bang, they smashed the house down. Manya kati things are beginning to take this direction. Manya kati it doesn't fall far from a tree, you know what I mean? Nakasoke nzije London shopping naate kati ngolo n'omuwala gwenkwanye ku YMCA, very beautiful girl, yali bulungi nnyo akamutwale London, take at London. Ebintu byenkoze bwe mbinyumiza omuntu agamba tebiriyo naye nga nabikolanga ne muteeka ku nnyonyi. Mumanyi drama eyali ku Entebbe airport, drama ennyonyi nendeka n'okundeka mwe temulabye ku chaos, abakazi nga naye nga tuli baana bato 20s. Nzija London era nenkola shopping y'amaanyi nnyo wano, nkitera ku container and like they said, the rest is history. So in summary, those who heard about me don't have the full story, but those who know me would say, that's Kegus. But tandikira ku Mark High, sente twanzikuwa tutali baana bato. The Uncle Money, Makerere High. Echoes, tukola. Nali mu A-level, nga I'm employing students. Bankolera. Kati whatever came after that was the downward spiral. Baati sente zitandika okuba nti zivuddemu omukono gwo. When I came back to Uganda, when I came back to study, nakwata emitwalo 10 eja dola nsasula university wane London nsome. Kati nga I'm trying to find myself. Nga kati mama yanjagalizanga nnyo okusoma. Kegusi mugezi, I'm very bright, and I'm like, let me come 3 years and study, knock out a degree or something. Nabe, that was to change the course of my life. I offloaded most of the things that I opened up an internet cafe. Nebyaliwo. So, in other words, Kati, I live out my 30s, 40s, that's 20 years. Gandhi UK. Of course, ntambula ngenze mu America, ngenze wankoze kino. So, kakati bwe nyingira 50s, ndaba nti time pushing towards settling down or retiring. Neki nabagamba nti na retiring adda ku 50 sina gwe nkolerera. I'm not sina gwe nkolerera apart from myself. Mufuna bulungi kwefaako, gym, exercise, what else? Siraba nenga abatanda bako abampulira obuwulizi bwe mwanyumya story ye. Buli omu ajja kunyumiza story ye. Tuvuga zigundi ezo zi Prado sujiza nezo zilandi kuruza. Motoka yange, I left my car at the airport. Airport Entebbe, when I abandoned it. Ngandi mu ntalo z'abakazi. Yes. Kegus. Anyway, eyebadde emboozi ya leero. Waba ekibuzo kibadde kijja back to back. People, omanye abantu balowooza nti ebintu bwe bibeera naye batandika okulaba ebyoyogerako nga tebabitegaga nti no, twali bavubuka b'amaanyi nnyo mu myaka gyaffe. Mu myaka ejange, I was a mover and a shaker. Nakolera abawala ab'abakazi ebintu birungi nnyo. Na inspiring abangi. Ebyo sijja bigenda kubanga biwanvu ebyaba girlfriends byo. Eyo story endala, of course byemumanyiko nagala nga bakazi balungi. Byebyo